In 2015, a single scratched-up wristwatch went to auction and sold for over $1.5 million. It carried that price tag because it is the only privately owned watch that has ever been worn on the surface of the moon. But the name printed on the dial is what makes the sale ironic. It's a Bulova, and if you know your space history, you know Bulova famously, publicly, lost the official NASA space contract to Omega. Welcome to Crown Patina. Today, we're looking at a piece of horological history that proves coming in second can actually be the far more interesting place to be. To figure out how a rejected backup watch became a $1 million legend, we must wind the clock back to a company desperate to win. Joseph Bulova was a bohemian immigrant who set up a jewelry shop in New York City in 1875. Over the following decades, he built an absolute empire by abandoning old-world handcraft and mass-producing precise, highly affordable watches for everyday Americans. Bulova wanted to own the future, and they aggressively bought up the media landscape to do it. In 1941, they paid for what is widely considered the world's first television commercial, a simple broadcast showing a clock face ticking over a map of the United States. They successfully engineered their name into American daily life, and with their dominance on Earth secured, they looked upward to the only frontier left: space. In 1960, they released the Accutron. To build it, Bulova threw away the traditional ticking balance wheel that had powered every mechanical watch for centuries. Instead, they used a tiny, battery-powered tuning fork. Attached to a transistor, this U-shaped metal vibrated 360 times every second. Attached to one arm was a microscopic jeweled pawl, nudging a tiny index wheel forward one tooth with every single vibration. Because of those 360 tiny pushes a second, the Accutron did not tick. It emitted a continuous electric hum, and the seconds hand glided completely smoothly around the dial. This electronic mechanism delivered accuracy guaranteed to a minute a month, and it had no heavy, swinging parts to be disturbed by gravity or vibration. For the engineers planning the Apollo missions, those specs made it the ideal instrument. NASA quietly packed Bulova's Accutron technology into the instrument panels of their spacecraft. During the Apollo 11 landing, they even left a Bulova-powered timer sitting in the dust of the Sea of Tranquility. But being a hidden component in the dashboard wasn't enough. Bulova desperately wanted the prestige of the official astronaut wristwatch contract. They submitted their best prototypes to NASA's brutal qualification trials, testing for blistering heat, freezing deep space cold, violent shock, and vacuum. The electronic Bulova failed the destruction tests. The contract went to a hand-wound, Swiss-made mechanical chronograph, the Omega's Speedmaster. Bulova's chairman at the time, former five-star General Omar Bradley, was reportedly furious. He lobbied Washington hard, demanding to know how an all-American space mission could rely on a foreign-made timepiece. The lobbying failed. NASA's priority was keeping astronauts alive, not buying American. Officially, Bulova lost the space race. Then came Apollo 15 in 1971. The mission commander was Dave Scott. Like everyone else, he was issued an official Omega Speedmaster, but Scott secretly packed an unauthorized personal backup, a prototype Bulova chronograph engineered for lunar conditions. During his second excursion out on the lunar surface, a sudden crisis hit. The extreme heat caused the glass crystal on Scott's official Omega to completely pop off. So, for his third and final moonwalk, which lasted nearly 5 hours, Scott strapped his backup Bulova to the outside of his spacesuit and drove the lunar rover across the surface. That very same scratched, moon dust-stained backup watch is the exact one that crossed the auction block in 2015 for $1.5 million. A serendipitous mechanical failure gave Bulova the loophole they needed to bypass NASA's official channels and claim their spot on the moon anyway. The triumph of the humming watch was short-lived. In 1969, the very same year humans first walked on the moon, Japanese watchmakers introduced the quartz movement, which vibrated a crystal tens of thousands of times a second. Quartz technology was vastly cheaper to produce and far more accurate. The electric hum of the tuning fork was silenced within a few years, and after decades of struggling through the quartz crisis, Bulova was eventually acquired by the Japanese brand Citizen in 2008. But under modern ownership, the brand realized their underdog history is a goldmine. Today, you don't need $1 million to own Dave Scott's backup watch. Bulova reissued it as the highly affordable Lunar Pilot. They ultimately found their success not by defeating Omega in a boardroom, but by embracing their runner-up status and selling the incredible story of how they got there. So I have a question for you in the comments. Based on the dashboard timers and Dave Scott's backup, does Bulova count as a true moonwatch, or is it just a fantastic loophole? And if you had to pick one for your own wrist, would you go with the modern Lunar Pilot or hunt down an original humming Accutron? Let me know down below. If you enjoyed the video, hit subscribe and ring the bell so you don't miss next week's legend. Horology is as much about the stories we tell as the mechanics inside the case. Thanks for watching, and keep winding.